Julie Gunlock of the Independent Women's Forum joins us on the program right now. How you doing, Julie?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good. Happy pre-Thanksgiving to you.
Happy pre-Thanksgiving. Are you cooking? Are you starting to cook?
Well, not only, I realize you meant that theoretically, like the royal you, meaning my wife.
Yes,
No,
I
think I'm about 60% sure that my kids are going to be subjected to my Thanksgiving cooking this year.
No, the horror.
I know, right? So I think we're going to smoke some turkey because I feel much more comfortable smoking turkey than actually putting it in the oven. I'm going to try to muddle through my wife's recipe for stuffing.
Okay.
Probably going to go, I think I can handle mashed potatoes. I think I can do that. Probably going to go with the Pillsbury pop and serve rolls as opposed to my wife who would just take a bag of flour and turn it into like a work of art an hour later. I'm not that good, but we'll muddle through. Yes. I am curious. Are there any like must-haves on your Thanksgiving table?
Yes, actually there is, and it's stuffing. My mother's stuffing. Now, I know in the South they call it dressing. Is that right? But we are Northerners, so we call it stuffing. And, I actually wrote about it for National Review. I wrote about my mom's stuffing. So if you're interested, it's called Claire Vincent's Dreamy Stuffing. And it is so basic. It is onions and celery and lots of butter and dry, day-old or 2-day-old bread. Half of it's stuffed in the turkey and half of it's just baked in a casserole. It's very basic. When I was in my 20s and on my own, and there were several Thanksgivings where I didn't go home, I hosted a couple Thanksgivings with friends, and I tried to be all fancy, and I, did, a butternut squash stuffing and sausage stuffing and cornbread stuffing, and I would do all these different kinds of stuffings. And eventually I just realized that all I really wanted was my mom's traditional stuffing. So, yes, that is the must. That's what I eat the most of. Even sometimes when people are having pie, I will have a second helping of stuffing. So
I got to say I'm with you on that. And it's funny because growing up, I loved my mom's stuffing. And then my first year that I was married and my wife made stuffing, I realized my mom's stuffing was really above average, but it wasn't right. All of a sudden, I was like, whoa, you could put sausage in stuffing. You could put apples and mushroom. Oh, my gosh. So for 19 years, literally, I have demanded, I shouldn't say demanded, I've requested that stuffing be served more than twice a year. We get it at Thanksgiving. We get it at Christmas. My wife refuses to make it any other time of year. She says it just wouldn't be special. So,
yeah, I agree. And it's also just, it is such a carb bomb. It's just...
Carb bomb. Make sure you pronounce that. There you go.
Sorry. Carb with a B. It is a carb bomb, but I do feel like a carb bomb has gone off after eating it because honestly, I don't think it's really the turkey that puts you to sleep. I think it's the stuffing. So I definitely overeat stuffing. Now, Cam, are you going to make gravy? That's usually the tough one. Are you buying gravy, or do you think you're going to make it?
I will attempt to make it.
It's not so hard.
No, it's
not so hard.
Look, here's the thing. I can cook. I had this conversation with my wife 2 nights ago, as a matter of fact. I said, I can cook. I just don't, because you cook great. And so I just don't, right? So I have the skills. They might be a little atrophied.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You atrophy. I haven't taken the garbage out. I don't even know where the garbage cans are. I don't know where the garbage can. Honest to God, I have no idea. If you asked me to take the garbage out, I would say, honestly, I have no doubt that in a couple years, I won't know how to gas up the car. I am definitely one of those people. I married. My husband is so great. We had this weekend. I'm not kidding you. We had 2 toilets and the coffee machine, the Keurig, break in our house. And he fixed them both. God bless him. We never have, plumbers in our house. We never have electricians. He always figures it out, right? He's really handy that way. But I really have atrophied. There are certain things I just don't do. So, I get it. You have the talent. You can do it. But why would you when your wife cooks so well?
Exactly. So we'll see. I think my kids will probably be very thankful this year that Mom will soon be back to cooking. But we'll see.
Yeah.
So you've got a piece at the New Boston Post right now. One of my favorite topics, Nanny Bloomberg.
That's right.
Nanny Bloomberg striking again. You say he hasn't held office for 3 years, but he is still pushing people around and increasing Americans' taxes. So We've talked a lot about Bloomberg's anti-gun initiatives, Julie. It was a mixed bag for Bloomberg. He spent over $6 million in Maine and couldn't get his background check referendum passed, failed by 4 votes. In Nevada, he spent at least $13 million, and it did squeak by with less than a 10,000 vote margin, but he did get his anti-gun law there. But we noted this before the election. Bloomberg wasn't just he wasn't just spending his money on gun control efforts around the country. What else was he spending money on?
Yeah, so four cities passed new taxes on soda after Bloomberg went on this anti-soda tear. We know that he did this in New York, and then he sort of took it on the road, just like his anti-gun ownership initiatives. He spent a whopping $18 million, though, to get these soda taxes put through. These happened in San Francisco and also in other California towns, and also one in Boulder. So he pushed these. He loves these kinds of things. He thinks that a 1 or 2 cent per ounce tax on sodas was really going to reduce the obesity rates. Of course, he ignores all of the evidence, which is pretty conclusive. Look, these things do not. They might reduce soda consumption temporarily, but what happens is people will find calorie replacements. So they might stop drinking soda, but they'll find some other beverage that has just as much sugar that isn't taxed. Or they'll start drinking water. So they may take the sugary drinks out of their diet, but then they'll increase calories on pizza or on bagels or what have you. People find replacements. They generally don't. These taxes don't have the effect where people go, oh, you know what? I'm going to take soda out of my diet and then not replace it. No. In one study, I've talked about it on the show before, they looked at this. Do soda taxes work? Do they work? They did reduce sales of soda temporarily, but guess what went up? The sale of beer, which was not taxed at that level. So, people will figure things out. They will figure out a way to get those calories. And so Bloomberg, again, is really harming. And if you look at who pays these taxes, it is the poorest in communities. It's the people who largely eat this stuff are usually poorer people, and also they're people who don't have the ability to get out of town to avoid these taxes. Some people will actually go outside the city limits to get soda. So it's really unfortunate. Yet again, it's a clueless billionaire who's pushing people around, and sadly, it's the most vulnerable in society.
So, it's interesting, Julie, because it strikes me that this is a perfect example of the nudging, right, that we have seen here. Cass Sunstein, who used to work in the Obama administration, the author of the book Nudge, he's got a new book out called The Ethics of Influence, Government in the Age of Behavioral Science. And he says that, the powers that be, like Bloomberg and government, cannot avoid nudging us, that everything is about these architecture of choices. I think that actually they can avoid nudging us. And as a matter of fact, I think it would behoove them to quit nudging us, because I think the nudginess, Julie, is having I think we're more resilient than the nudgers give us respect for. I mean, you talk about the $18 million that Bloomberg spent in San Francisco and Oakland on a soda tax. Yeah. That is a staggeringly large amount of money. I wouldn't think that you would need to spend $18 million to get people in San Francisco to vote for a soda tax.
Look, we know that nudgers like Bloomberg are the same as a lot of these big government politicians. And if they keep this up, we already have seen major losses at the state legislative level. We have seen losses at the governor level. We have Republicans have the House and Senate and the White House. Look, they keep this up. They keep up these shenanigans, pushing people around, nudging people. They won't hold office for decades. I mean, this is the kind of pushback. People are tired of this. They are tired of this. They're tired of so many things. But whether I can defend myself with a firearm, whether I can have an orange crush after gardening all day, whether I can, have, salt on my potato chips. I mean, people are so tired of the government nitpicking at us like this. There are bigger concerns. And so I think, look, I don't mean to be Susie Sunshine here, but there is a silver lining here. This kind of nudging has nudged people to the point that they are tired of these liberal policies. So I'm not sure that's the nudging that these liberals want, but that is the effect.
I think it is the effect. The New Scientist had a review of Sunstein's new book, and they say in a fascinating survey section, which asks Americans and others what they actually think about being the subjects of the architecting of their choices, Sunstein discovers, Julie, that, quote, if people are told they are being nudged, they will react adversely and resist.
Shocking.
What a discovery. I mean, that's right up there with penicillin. I mean, like, that's an amazing discovery that Cass Sunstein has figured out here, right? Shocking that, yes, people don't like being nudged. And when they are told, oh, you know what, you're being nudged here. This is about your choice architecture and taking choices away. People react poorly to that.
You can just imagine the cocktail party conversation Cass Sunstein has with Al Gore, like, oh, imagine people don't like being told what to do. I mean, these people, there's this great line in Dangerous Liaisons, like most intellectuals, he was intensely stupid. And that's exactly what I think of when I think of Cass Sunstein coming to the realization that people don't like to be told what to do. We live in America, for goodness sake. I tell you, I think really the message, we've talked a lot about the message that's been sent this election. I think these kinds of nudge policies, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing the consequences of that, and that's people really wanting to take control over their life, over their ability to take care of themselves, to defend themselves, to make choices, basic choices about the food they eat. This is really, people are really tired of this kind of nannying from Washington and from wealthy politicians like Bloomberg.
Praise the Lord and pass the gravy. Julie Gunlock, listen, thank you so much for coming on the program. Give my best to the family. Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
To you, too, to Elaine and the kids, and happy Thanksgiving. There's lots to be thankful for.
Absolutely. By the way, are we doing a podcast tomorrow?
We are, if that's okay.
There you go. That's great. That's fantastic. Just doing a little, we'll just take care of that on the air. All right, fantastic. I could have sent you an email, but this is so much easier. All right, well, we'll have a brand new edition of the Bespoke Parenting Hour for you that you can enjoy over your Thanksgiving holiday weekend as well. Julie Gunlock and I do a parenting podcast. You can imagine what that's like with Julie Gunlock and I here each and every week. Julie, thank you as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you can follow Julie on Twitter at jgunlock.